Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into the story of one of the planet's most beloved birds, the penguin. And I promise you, their history is packed with ancient giants, some serious mistaken identity, and survival skills that are just mind-blowing.
I mean, we all know this bird, right? You see that classic tuxedo, that unmistakable waddle, and you instantly know what it is. But behind that familiar face is a story that goes back over 60 million years. And trust me, it's got some twists you won't see coming.
And the very first twist? Well, it's right there in the name. You see, the word penguin originally belonged to a completely different bird.
So yeah, let's kick things off with a classic case of mistaken identity. A total identity swap, really. Okay, so meet the original penguin, the great auk. This guy was a flightless bird from the Northern Hemisphere. So when European sailors went south and saw these other birds that looked, well, pretty similar, they just went, "Hey, look, penguins." And the name just stuck. Even though, get this, the two birds aren't even closely related. So where did that name even come from? Well, there are a couple of cool theories. One is that it comes from the Welsh words penguin, which means white head, maybe after a landmark or the auk's own markings. The other possibility? The Latin word pinguis, which means fat, which, let's be honest, is a pretty solid description.
All right, so we've sorted out the name. Now let's rewind the clock way back, because the penguin family tree goes deeper than you could possibly imagine.
Just look at this timeline. It's absolutely wild. The very first penguin-like birds show up just a few million years after the dinosaurs got wiped out. But look at that period in the middle, the age of giant penguins. Yeah, for millions of years, the seas were basically ruled by these enormous penguin species. So when I say giant, how giant are we talking? Well, the tallest one we know of, Nordenskjöld's giant penguin, stood at an incredible 1.8 meters. Let that sink in for a second. A penguin that could look you right in the eye. These things were huge, weighing over 175 pounds. So, the big question is, what happened to them?
Well, the leading theory is that they just got outcompeted. As the first toothed whales and other marine mammals started spreading across the oceans, these giant birds were suddenly fighting for the exact same food. And, over time, the penguins lost. So the giants may be gone, but their descendants? Oh, they are evolutionary marvels. I mean, they're perfectly engineered for life in the ocean. I love this idea. Their wings, over millions of years, became these stiff, powerful flippers. And when you watch them move, they are literally flying through the water, just like a bird flies through the air. They're absolute masters of their environment. And what about that famous tuxedo? It's not just to look dapper. It is a brilliant piece of camouflage called countershading. If you're a predator looking up from below, their white belly just blends in with the bright sky. And if you're looking down from above, their dark back vanishes into the deep water. Genius.
And the high-tech features just keep coming. They have this natural heat exchanger in their flippers to stay warm. They can literally drink salt water because the special gland above their eye filters all the salt out. And their feathers? It's an unbelievably dense coat made of 4 different types of feathers. It's like the most advanced wetsuit you can imagine.
And all these amazing adaptations lead to some serious performance. You've got the Gentoo penguin, the fastest underwater bird in the world, hitting speeds of almost 22 miles per hour. And then there's the emperor penguin, which can dive down to 550 meters. That is over 1,800 feet deep. Just incredible. Okay, so we know how they're built, but where do these amazing birds actually live? Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but their empire is a lot bigger and more diverse than just ice.
Go on, do it. Picture a penguin in its natural habitat. chances are you're imagining a vast white landscape of ice and snow, probably in Antarctica, right? Well, that's definitely part of the story, but it is only part of it. While some penguins are the ultimate symbols of Antarctica, the family as a whole is found all over the Southern Hemisphere. I mean, just look at this range. Of course, you've got the icy coasts of Antarctica, but they also live on the temperate shores of South America and South Africa. They're on the beaches of Australia and New Zealand. And the one that blows my mind every time, the Galapagos Islands, right on the equator. And that brings us to the present day, and the relationship between this ancient family of birds and its newest and most impactful neighbor, us. You know, one of the most endearing things about penguins is how curious and unafraid they seem to be around people. And there's a really simple reason for that. On land, they have basically zero natural predators. All their enemies, like leopard seals and orcas, are in the water, so to them, we're just another weird-looking creature wandering around. But that fearlessness hasn't exactly saved them from our impact. When you look at the data, it's pretty sobering. Many of the most famous species, from the emperor to the Galapagos penguin, are in trouble. And look at that last column. The trend for all of them is decreasing. And that's the key takeaway here. This isn't just about a few species here and there. For the majority of the world's 18 penguin species, their populations are heading in the wrong direction. For an animal family that's been around for over 60 million years, that's a really scary and very recent development. Think about everything they've been through. They survived the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. They adapted and outlasted their own giant ancestors. They've conquered habitats from the equator to the South Pole. So the final and most important question is, after 60 million years, will they survive us?